Today, I will be reanimating the amazing digital circus into different art styles, going from the easiest to the hardest in animation history. We'll make a few animations throughout the video to see which came out best and whether I can actually survive the hardest style at all. So the first character we're going to animate is Pomni. But we have two problems. What scene should I animate and in what style? For our first animation, we'll be doing an easier style.
I'm sorry, what?
But I need to clarify, animation is time consuming, no matter what style I choose to animate it. But what makes each style harder depends on the details of the characters, how the cleanup process looks like, and how many frames I will actually need to draw. You'll see what I mean when we get to the last animation. So, for the first animation, I decided to choose the style of, drumroll please, Invader Zim. Now, hear me out. I have a vision. Because Pomni at the beginning was very nervous, very anxious, it kind of reminded me a lot of how Zim is animated. That kind of like jittery feeling. The lines are a little pointy and they really give that feeling of anxiousness. If you don't know Invader Zim, it was a Nickelodeon show made by Jonan Vasquez about a little alien trying to conquer Earth named Zim alongside his robot servant Berg. It is pretty funny, so I highly recommend you watch it. But going back to the animation, I chose this scene of Pomni laughing maniacally. You remember the one with the gun scene? And if you know anything about Zim, it's that he is a little evil gremlin. So what will Pomni look like in this art style? I started out trying to design what Pomni would look like if she was part of the Invader Zim world. I didn't think this would be so hard, but then I realized there are no circles in the character designs. You see, the Invader Zim style is made up of a lot of triangles, squares, and pointy shapes, which is why I think it really stands out. But how do we take a highly round character like Pomni, but still make them fit into the style while keeping their original character design? So I decided to do some research. And after watching so many compilations of funny Zim moments, I realized something. Grr. No, not this grr. This grr. You see, grr's design uses a lot of circles. So with this reference in mind, I made Pomni's shoulder circles, but tried to keep the rest of her body a little bit more pointy. I made her head square like grr's and made her head belts also square to have some variety of shapes. I also wanted her to look like the drawing that she has on her door of her room, plus a little bit of more anxiety. I had problems with getting the head size right, so I had to adjust it a little. I added these pointy hair spikes like Gaz's hair, and instead of making it straight to be more accurate to the style. But even with her design done, I had to figure out how I was going to animate her. Specifically, her face. Zim's animation style is very expressive, so I had to make sure these mouth movements really did match with not only what Pomni was saying, but was also accurate to the Zim style. So a normal mouth sheet wouldn't really help us here. I had to scour the internet to find some type of guide on what mouth shapes were used in the show, but I couldn't find anything official until I came across this video. Welcome to Art School, the Invader Zim art style breakdown we all desperately need. Yes, I was desperate. Thank you. So thank you Flamgo's Crash Pad and Invader Zim Lost and Found for making this video. Please check them out. This single screenshot really helped me. You have no idea. This really helped me to make Pomni's expressions look a lot more accurate to what she would be animated to be like in the show. With the mouth expressions referenced now in my head, I was able to lip sync her lines perfectly, but there was another thing I had to get right for this animation, and that is Zim's laugh. I didn't mention this, but in the character design I made previously, I drew a version of Pomni laughing like this. But I didn't really like it. I mean, look at her. So I decided to tone it down a bit and change the teeth a little. Something I did notice from that very helpful mouth expression sheet. And with just 3 frames, I was able to pull it off. But then I noticed a funny animation error made in the original animation. Or maybe it's not an error. Here we can see Pomni not holding a gun, but in the next shot we see her with the gun again. This could also be intentional given that it allows Pomni to be more expressive with her hands. But as I was working on my animation, unironically, I realized I forgot to add her gun at all. So I went back and I added it in. With all of that done, I made a simple background that resembled the style of Zim, and with that, we were done. So let me show you the animation.
Because they're going to face the wrath of Pomni! they're going to face the wrath of Pomni the Evil! Because they're going to face the wrath of Pomni the Evil!
So what do you think? Does it fit Pomni well? I think the animation is fun, but we're just starting here, so let's see how hard the next style can be. For our next character, we have Jax. Now it's time to ramp up the hard style meter, but before we can start, what style would fit Jax the best? So I spent some time thinking, and I came up with the perfect style that could fit them. If you didn't already know, Jax is voiced by Michael Kovac, who has become somewhat of a meme for voicing a lot of characters in the indie sphere. And you know who else he gave a voice to? That's right, it was Angel Dust. At least in the pilot anyways. So for this next animation, we'll be taking Jax and animating them as if they were drawn by VivziePop, or animated like in Has Been Hotel or Hello a Boss. And if we're doing this style for them, there's only one scene I can animate, and that is, obviously it has to be when they get that maid outfit. But in order to turn Jax into this style, we have a very big problem. Jax is two things. They are a rabbit, but also a cartoonish character. Now, VivziePop has drawn a lot of different characters, but how would she draw them? More on the cartoonish side, or more on the furry side of her art style? To figure this out, I asked my Instagram which one would fit them best, and by popular vote, we ended up combining these versions, where their face is rounder, but we still keep that fur. Of course, I gave them that skinny body type, and I added a strict line in their ears. This was a pattern that I saw in a lot of VivziePop characters, as well as, of course, the bow tie. I matched the height of the overalls in reference to Husk's overalls because it looked a lot better than up to their chest. If you want to know how I was able to match the styles of all of these animations in detail, you can find a breakdown of character designs and animation styles on my Patreon, so you can make your own characters in these styles. So going back to the scene, if we are going to animate the scene, we also need to make a version with the maid outfit. I followed this design of a Has Been Hotel Cafe collab I saw online. I thought it was pretty cute and fitting to the style. And with that, Jack's new design is done. Except now I had to animate it, which I quickly realized how hard it was going to be. The VivziePop style is known to be very detailed. Lots of patterns, unnecessary colors, or streaks in character designs. Fortunately for me, the most details this design had was the ruffles of the maid outfit. Which, I mean, it was still very annoying to deal with. This was nothing compared to this. Imagine animating this, oh my god. To animate the ruffles, I had to first think how the skirt would be animated first, and then add in the details. I took some liberties with certain movements, like here where I changed how the arms move from this to this. I really love the facial expressions and the way Jax moves in this shot. I really think it fits perfectly into the VivziePop style. This design and the way they move, it definitely reminds me of Angel Dust. Oh, but then I almost completely forgot to add the baseball cap. Only to realize that I had another major problem, cleaning up the animation. Cleaning up means doing clean line art and adding the colors. This step took so long. Animating in the rough phase was doable, but cleaning up took a lot of my time. I had to shorten the whole animation I originally had planned to make. So if you want me to finish the whole thing, let me know, maybe I will in the future. This really gives me a lot of respect for the real Has Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss animators out there. You guys are doing amazing work. So after cleaning up, I added some blushing, and since I was only able to finish this part of my original plan, I only drew the background for that one. I tried to be as close as possible to the style of the background artists in the shows, and with that, we are done. As I said, I didn't finish everything I had planned, given how time-consuming cleaning up took, so I will first show the whole animation as I had planned it, and then I will replay the fully completed animation so you can enjoy it again.
What's that? What the heck? You don't wanna quite look like this though! What's that? What the heck? You don't wanna quite look like this though! What the heck?
So, does this style fit Jax's character? I can say I definitely enjoyed animating that maid dress. Overall, I love doing this challenge. I am a big fan of the uniqueness of VivziePop style, so let me know what you think. But moving on to our last character, Ragatha. And honestly, going into this challenge, I already knew what style I wanted to animate her in. Not only does this style really fit her, but it is pretty well known for being really complicated. And that being the style of the Raggedy Ann in And the Musical Movie. If you didn't know, the amazing digital circus took a lot of inspiration from the musical movie, like the world, the dialogue, the way Jack speaks, and obviously Ragatha. What makes this style really hard comes down to one reason: Richard Williams. You see, he's very well known for making the Animator Survival Handbook, which is pretty much what every single animator needs, and working on so many things like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, The Thief and the Cobbler, and of course Raggedy Ann and Andy, A Musical Adventure. This animation style is very hard because it requires a lot of drawings. You see, the previous animations only needed to make a drawing every 3 frames, if not more, but this style requires a drawing for almost every single frame. This is because animated movies usually have more budget and more time for the animators to draw more, while animated shows or series, they don't really have that much time or money. But besides the fact that this will be hard to animate, this style is also a lot more realistic, meaning I would have to animate closer to how dolls would behave in the real world, something they like to do a lot in this movie. And I thought because of that, the best scene we could animate using this style was when Ragatha got that stupid sauce in her eye. You'll see why. But how am I going to change the character that was inspired by this style to go back into this style? I matched the anatomy of the original Raggedy Ann to match Ragatha. A very important change I had to make was to make sure her eyes were more rounder to match the original dolls and the style of the movie, as well as making her nose much bigger. One thing to note is that her dress is actually a much darker tone than Raggedy Ann's dress, so I decided to keep that. But then when I thought I was done, I realized, wait a second, her button eye is missing. How did I almost forget that? The scene we are animating takes place in this episode where they work as putties. And in this scene, she is not wearing her normal dress, so we need to make a reference to her original uniform. But oh my god, I feel like I've been forgetting details of the characters that they have in every single one of their scenes. I decided to just make her normal dress black and added that cap. Anyways, when put side to side, do they really look like sisters? I think so. I went into this just wanting to recreate the animation of the movie for one of my favorite characters, but I quickly realized that I overestimated how hard animating this style could be. If the Jack's animation was hard because of the cleanup, this animation took so much longer because of another reason. My original plan for the scene was to make it really funny. What I mean is that I decided to make Ragatha fall down in the scene, like a ragdoll, similar to how the movie animated Anne and Andy's as dolls. And believe me, my idea for this was very funny. I took a lot of reference from the musical movie, noting their mouths and tried to see how her bow would move. If you didn't know, a lot of Richard Williams movies took a long time to make, even pushing their timelines and release dates, and I can honestly really see why. This animation requires so many more drawings to the point I wasn't able to in between this frame to this frame because I ran out of time. I felt so tired redrawing similar frames so much, but it truly gives it that feeling of how it was to animate on paper. Believe me, I was tired of redrawing her face so many times. I was really missing being able to copy and paste Sim's Pomni's face all over and over again. I can't imagine doing this on paper. Having to erase instead of being able to edit my lines on a digital program, which really speaks to how even if I really did try, I could never truly replicate the style unless I did it on paper. But by pushing through, I finished in color all of the frames that I could. For the background, I decided to take a frame from the original animation and apply an effect so it would simplify the colors. And then I added some textures to simulate that watercolor effect. I had to make sure this animation had that old movie effect, so I gave it some noise and color distortion, so it looks a lot similar to when animators would scan their drawing. And with that, we were finally done with the hardest animation style. I spent probably 2 weeks on this, and it is pretty much the sole reason this video did not come out by the time I had planned, because I was so in and out of this animation. So with this, let's see how it turned out.
I wish someone would flirt with me. I wish someone would flirt with me. I wish someone would flirt with me.
Let me just say, being able to complete this challenge really makes you think of how much time and dedication it takes to animate in all of these styles. Although I would consider Raggedy Ann's to be the hardest style, the Has-Been Hotel / VivziePop style definitely took much longer than I anticipated because of the cleanup. Pomni and the Sim style was a lot of fun too, but well, all of them were a lot of fun. Let me know which one is your favorite and whether I should do more characters. If you like this video, definitely check this one out. That's all. Thank you for watching.